Chapter 612, Super Electromagnetic Gun. The divination was over, and Mayumi Takeuchi put away the pen in her hand. She just looked a little weak after doing all this. Some of the crowd hurriedly came over to read the signs, while others pretended to be unconcerned, but their eyes still glanced over here involuntarily. Phoenix Hallren, as the boss, held the scroll up and read it carefully. His eyes grew brighter and brighter, and the corners of his mouth grew wider and wider. Their people are coming. And there are a lot of them. Jinguji let out a disgusted hiss, while the others either had a blank expression or were excited. Phoenix Hall looked up at the group and began assigning tasks. Takizawa and Iwasa, you two go southeast. Takizawa Takashi and Iwasa Nanako, as a couple, nodded and immediately left the warehouse with their weapons. Nobunaga, you go to the west. The enemies there are suitable for you. Nobunaga Tsukamoto, a samurai, looked lazy and said nothing, just picked up his long samurai sword and left silently. Daikumawashi, you go to the east. Your luck is there today. Daikumawashi and Jin, a big, burly man with a black face and 2 meters tall, also left carrying a cello case. Phoenix Hall assigned tasks to his subordinates based on the divinations in the Takeuchi scrolls. Soon, the room was half empty. The short-haired high school student named Shijimanojo Satoru was oblivious to all this and just smiled as he cooked his lunch. Phoenix Hall came up to him and squatted down. He took a silver spoon from his bosom and ladled some soup into his mouth. Then he let out an expression of enjoyment. It really tastes good. I can eat another full meal. I don't know if he was talking about the food or the upcoming battle. Linhai City. Although the people from the Jiangnan region headquarters did not arrive, they had already locked in the area where the eclipse moon was located through satellite positioning. On the operations department side, Minister Tu Yunlai personally took charge of commanding the operation. However, when it comes to commanding, it is more about observing. Because the Jiangnan Superpower Federation has just been established, the alien forces in the outer city currently do not completely obey their orders. According to the intelligence of the operations department, the 10 alien teams have formed a siege circle from all directions and are gradually tightening. Southeast direction. The force coming from this direction is the Peng Jialua organization from Hang City. He is accompanied by 20 elite subordinates on this trip, 6 of whom are quite capable aliens. The rest of them are also elite snipers, scouts, and demolition experts. They had an agreement when the 10 forces moved, to surround Eclipse Moon from different directions. No one would be careless about the organization from Neon. After all, it was a powerful organization that had wiped out all the forces in a city. However, no one thought their operation would fail. They had the advantage of location, with the guidance of satellite positioning in the Jiangnan region. But the other party is in a foreign land, like a headless chicken. In terms of numbers, they are dozens of times more than the Eclipse Moon organization. Moreover, each organization is the top in its own city area. Even if they pile up in numbers, they can still pile up that organization to death. At least, Peng Jialua thought so in his heart. The alien organization in Hang braved the snow and cautiously marched forward. They kept in contact with other forces at any time through their communication equipment. This is Peng Jialua. We've arrived near the designated area. A voice from the other side quickly replied. We've also arrived at the edge of the designated area. We're almost there too, 3 minutes. Very well, once everyone has arrived at the designated location, we'll close in together. We must not be careless and avoid acting without authorization. Hey, you don't have to tell us that. No one who has survived this far is a reckless person. Peng Jialua ended the transmission and did not hurry to head towards the target area. But just as he was about to tell the scouts to scout the surrounding terrain, his pupils suddenly narrowed. Because he saw a person slowly walking down the street in the urban area ahead. A man with slightly long hair wearing a black combat uniform. One person. Peng Jialua was a little surprised, and his nerves tensed up a little. He immediately ordered his men to get ready for battle. At the same time, he reported the matter on the communication channel. This is Peng Jialua. We have encountered the enemy. There is only one person. Only one person? Aren't there 13 of them? Be careful. The others may be hiding in the shadows. Let's see what he's going to do. Peng Jialua was about to continue communicating when a harsh electrical sound suddenly came from his ears, causing his ears to ache. Peng Jialua frowned, and just as he was about to curse, he saw the man stop several hundred meters away. His left hand was even leisurely in his pocket, looking over here with a cold expression. But his right hand took out a coin and placed it between his thumb and forefinger. A white flash of lightning suddenly surged out from him. The coin transformed into a cannonball of super electromagnetism and shot through space, shooting towards the people of Hang. The lightning was so fast that no one expected him to suddenly attack. Immediately, a different person was pierced through the chest. A large burned hole appeared in his chest, and his eyes were full of disbelief as he fell straight down. How dare he attack on his own initiative? Peng Jialua never thought that they were the hunters and the other party was the prey. But how dare the prey show its claws to the hunter? Damn Neon, kill him. Peng Jialua, no matter how good-natured he was, could not tolerate the other party killing his men in front of him. He roared, and his body suddenly began to rapidly expand, and a golden glow enveloped his body. His muscles were expanding, his body was growing taller, and he suddenly turned into a golden Buddha statue more than 4 meters tall. The Hang City Buddha army Peng Jialua. Although they were caught off guard, they clearly had the advantage in numbers. Plus, with Delta-class Peng Jialua in charge, they were not afraid of Takashi Takizawa, who had come alone. We have the advantage. Peng Jialua and the others thought. Just as the group activated their respective superpowers and planned to finish off Takashi Takizawa, a melodious sound suddenly came from afar. The sound was low and deep, somewhat similar to the sound of a flute. The sound drifted past the concrete buildings of the city and reached the foreign crowd in Hang City. The scene in front of everyone's eyes distorted in a strange way. The light began to become chaotic, as if countless colorful butterflies were fluttering before their eyes, and the whole world became distorted. Their heads began to feel dizzy, and they didn't know where to put their hands and feet. Peng Jialua shouted angrily, "It's a psychic power user. Cover your ears." But the moment the music sounded, Takashi Takizawa had already raised his hands, with 8 coins caught between his fingers, aimed in this direction. The super electromagnetic gun triggered a frenzy of silver lightning in the air, and a torrent of electricity followed the shooting of the coins, drawing 8 silver lightning trails in the air. Chapter 613, Tide Tiger. Peng Jialua's skirmish on this side attracted the attention of the other 9 parties. The aliens in Hang City have been attacked? They're really unlucky. It looks like someone is going to break through from them. Should we go over and support them? Someone asked in the communication channel. The conversation fell silent for a while. After a long time, someone said faintly, "Why don't we go over and take a look?" But no one responded to his words. The reward for this mission is very generous, and even the person who deserves the most credit can take over the entire Linhai City. The reward is just that, but there are 10 forces involved, and they are in a naked competitive relationship with each other. If Peng Jialua's people can make Eclipse Group fight to the death and consume some of Eclipse Group's strength, it would definitely be good news for everyone else. However, soon their thoughts changed. In Yunzhou City, Li Tianlong's team was still waiting in place, hesitating when to go over and support Peng Jialua. Very suddenly, there was a sound of breaking air from high above. Li Tianlong looked up sharply and saw a dark shadow rushing down from the upper floors of the building where they were hiding. The silver blade light flashed in midair, illuminating this gloomy area. Nobunaga Tsukamoto dashed a few times among the crowd, and before the crowd could react, 5 people had already been hacked to pieces. Li Tianlong was dumbfounded. How is this possible? He was not surprised by the strength of the samurai, but by the other party's actions, as if they knew they were here. But, clearly, they had satellite support from the Jiangnan region, and their intelligence was ahead of the other party. Why, in the end, Would they be the first to be found by the other party? Not only them, but almost every force of the aliens was ambushed by the eclipse moon after just a few minutes. They were clearly hiding in good places and were about to make a signal to launch a collective sprint. But every step they took seemed to be seen through by the other party, which instead put them in a passive state. In the combat command center of the Jiangnan Regional Headquarters, Tu Yunlia's hawk-like sharp eyes stared at the screen. He could see these images through the communicators carried by the 10 extraordinary people's organizations. Even he didn't expect that they would be beaten to the punch. How could this happen? Could it be that we have leaked the news? But immediately, Tu Yunli dismissed this idea. Impossible. The only one who can accurately determine the location of each force is here at headquarters. His gaze wandered around the operations center, scanning every staff member on the scene. Then he shook his head and dismissed the idea again. The security level of the command center is the highest. Every message sent here will be intercepted, and no one can pass information to them over the secure network. Then it must be some kind of supernatural power. A detection-type supernatural power? Can it cover such a large area? Tu Yunlia's gaze became increasingly sharp. He suddenly felt that this incident was beginning to become a bit tricky. The battle in Linhai City had already begun. The sudden situation caught everyone off guard. The 10 major powers were initially a bit flustered, and the surprise attack caused them to lose some of their combat power. But they were after all powerful forces that dominated their respective territories. They quickly stabilized their positions. Especially when they discovered that it wasn't the entire Eclipse Moon group on their side, but only 1 or 2 people, they also began to calm down. Especially on the east side of the city, the 2 teams of Li Guoqiang from Boss City and Meng Shucheng from Xihong joined forces to fight the enemy. Their opponent, however, was only a man wearing a suit, as strong as a bear, carrying a cello case. Just one person? Li Guoqiang frowned, a little suspicious that these neon people had a problem with their heads. Can't you see that there are 40 to 50 people on both sides of his side? It's more like he's here to die alone. Kill! Li Guoqiang didn't say much nonsense. There was no possibility of peace between the 2 sides, and besides, he couldn't understand what the other side was saying. Immediately, 10 sharpshooters stepped forward, aiming their sniper rifles at Daiku Kaiten and starting to shoot. And what they used were the high-powered bullets for aliens that the Jiangnan region had specially approved for them this time. De Guquan Yanjin watched the bullets they shot at him, but he didn't show any sign of evading. Instead, he silently took off his suit and reached for the cello case. Popping! The bullets landed on his body, shredding his clothes, but not piercing his skin. Instead, they revealed the strong muscles underneath, which looked like they were forged from black steel. So it turns out that he is an enhanced alien, Meng Shucheng said indifferently. High-energy bullets are more powerful than armor-piercing bullets, and even if an alien is shot, they are in danger of dying. But among aliens, the enhanced system is a pure monster. Their abilities are not flashy, they simply enhance the basic abilities of their bodies. Because that is a physical mutation. It allows their flesh to reach the level of a tank or even a fortress, and they are immune to bullets and even small heat weapons. Li Guoqiang looked at Meng Shucheng and a mocking smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Enhanced aliens, isn't that perfect? Under Meng Shucheng's long hair, his narrow eyes were also filled with a smile. Indeed, it's perfect. Because the 2 of them were both powerful enhanced aliens. Plus the many subordinates, more than 50 people against 1, how could they lose? However, at this moment, Daiku Kaito had already taken something out of the cello case. It was a strange-looking spear, which, when assembled, was more than 3 meters long, but the head of the spear was flat, like a dragonfly's wing. Daiku Kaito gripped the dragonfly blade and looked at the strangers from the 2 factions, muttering something in Neonese. Mayumi's prediction was really accurate. Meng Shucheng and Li Guoqiang had already activated their own superpower enhancements. Meng Shucheng was surrounded by a hazy black light, and his long hair was also rapidly spreading, covering his body. Each black hair was flashing with a sharp, eerie light, and each hair was sharper than the sharpest knife, able to cut through gold and break jade. Li Guoqiang, on the other hand, took out two heavy black iron canes from behind him, protecting himself with them, ready to defend and attack at any time. Go, finish him off. Dozens of aliens quickly surrounded Daiku Kaido Yanjin. All kinds of methods began to be used against him. The two leaders of the aliens were the main attackers, attacking him one after the other. But the Iron Tower in the middle, facing the unrelenting attacks, just waved his dragonfly sword with a cold stare. A hurricane began to howl, covering his entire body. When the hurricane stopped, he had suddenly turned into a peerless monster 3 meters tall with furry yellow-brown spots all over his body. Daiku Kaiketsu, the orc-type ability user, the mythical monster. Holding the huge dragonfly cutter in his hand, his brown vertical pupils swept over all the aliens around him. Li Guoqiang and Meng Shucheng, who were attacking from the front and back, he simply made a simple horizontal slash, drawing a circle with himself at the center. The green and blue blade light swept through the midair, creating a beautiful arc. The two powerful Delta-class enhanced aliens were split in two by the wayward path of the blade, with their upper and lower bodies separating directly above the waist.